All right, good morning, everybody. What's going on? So, everybody knows how critical I am of the boxing media and how I think that the boxing media just flat out misinforms the public. They create their own narrative sometimes, they make their own clickbaity articles just so they can get hits. They don't even really verify sources anymore. They just hear something and they run with it without actually verifying things. But now, one of the very few people that I did have respect for, Marcos Villegas, is really showing how much of a shill he is and how much of a tribalist he is because he's making a claim that is just totally factually 100% incorrect. So this was a man who I did have respect for, and now he has lost my respect because he made a claim on Twitter that was, as I said, just not true. And people went on that tweet and responded and replied to that tweet and showed him that he was incorrect. And even after that, he's still doubling down, trying to say that what he's saying has some truth to it and some validity to it. So let's dive into what he said. I believe it was yesterday. He goes, major props to Clarissa Shields, the only boxer with the guts to step into MMA and have an actual fight under their rules. Really? So what about Heather Hardy, who's a professional boxer who just recently had an MMA fight under their rules? What about Holly Holm, who actually won the UFC title and also was a boxing world champion? What about her? Right? What about James Toney, who actually was a boxer? Obviously, he didn't have a good showing, but he entered the octagon and fought under MMA rules, right? Amanda Serrano is another one. So there's been many prime examples of past and present boxers who did enter the octagon. Ray Mercer was another one. Actually knocked out Silva. I forget his first name. The guy. There's so many Silvas in MMA. Yeah, he knocked out the big Silva guy. The guy that Frank Mir also knocked out to become the UFC heavyweight champion. I'm trying to remember that guy's first name, but that's neither here nor there. No disrespect to him. I just can't remember his first name off the top of my head. But he was a former UFC heavyweight champion, and Ray Mercer knocked him out. So this is just a factually incorrect statement because there have been many, many boxers who have entered the octagon or an MMA fight. They've participated in MMA fights under MMA rules. So then he goes. People are talking to him, and they're bringing up Holly Holm, right? And then he replies, "That's active." Okay, well, if you want to, Heather Hardy's not active, right? She's not active. Amanda Serrano's not active. Those are two boxers who have competed in MMA and boxing matches, right? So even after he's corrected, right, he keeps doubling down. You know, everyone's replying to his tweets. Girls go to MMA because there's more money. People are just replying and just showing him examples, right? There's so like Melissa Parker's another one. The ones that I knew off the top of my head were Holly Holm, Heather Hardy, and Amanda Serrano, right? And Tim Sylvia is his name. I'm sorry, no disrespect to Sylvia. So Tim Sylvia was the guy who got knocked out by Ray Mercer. Just his name just popped back into my head. You know, Ricardo Mayorga was another one, right? He was another one. But Amanda Serrano is actually pretty decent at MMA. Heather Hardy's another one. So, like I said, and people just keep showing him how wrong he is by giving the examples. And I think Amanda Serrano's fighting this weekend, if I'm not mistaken, in an MMA fight. So just because he wants to cape for Clarissa Shields, and this is how bad the boxing media has gotten, because just because he's a Clarissa Shields fan, he has to disrespect all the other people and all the other females that have done it before Clarissa Shields. He doesn't want to give them their props. So once again, subtracting from others to add to yourself. And in this case, subtracting from other fighters to add to Clarissa Shields. Because why? Because this is how biased and tribal the boxing media has become. He's choosing a side, right? He's choosing a side. He's showing his tribalism and his bias. So the comment is totally infactual. It's not correct. But he refuses to just say, hey, you know what? Maybe I misspoke. Why couldn't he just say props to Clarissa Shields with having the guts to step into MMA and have an actual fight under their rules? Why does he have to put the only boxer with the guts? Because that's fucking bullshit. And this fucking guy refuses to correct the incorrect statement. Everyone's there. And I responded. I said, just delete the tweet. You misspoke. Own it and move on. It's no big deal. The more you try and talk your way out of it, the worse it's going to get. It's best to stop the bleeding. That's what I said to him. You misspoke. You're wrong. You're wrong. And by making that statement, you're insulting other fighters like Heather Hardy and Amanda Serrano, who currently compete in both sports. You're insulting them. You're insulting them. You're diminishing their efforts. You're telling them that they don't count. Oh, doesn't matter, right? And why is it? Because he's caping for Clarissa Shields, because he's a Clarissa Shields fan. Maybe he's saying to himself, well, those other fighters don't count. They're not as popular as Clarissa Shields. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I can only surmise that that's probably what he's doing, right? That's probably what he's doing. So he's caping for Clarissa Shields, making incorrect statements, because there's been quite a few boxers who have entered the MMA realm, right? And he uses the word only. That is 100% an incorrect statement that he made. And he keeps trying to talk his way out of it and double down, right? Keeps trying to double down and make these claims, and he's wrong. Everyone's eviscerating him on Twitter, and the tweet's still up. The tweet is still up, right? He has refused to take the tweet down. He has refused to admit that he's misspoke, and he's continuing to try to defend himself, making himself look more and more like an idiot, make himself look more and more like an ass. Because why? Because of his ego. Because of his ego. This was the one guy that I had, one of the few guys that I had respect for. I thought I admired his interviews. I admired his content, right? Here's another one of his tweets. A lot of people are misinformed about who did what and what happened in early days of YouTube. If it was for so-and-so, no one would be doing what you do. So wrong. Within the first 20 days of Fight Hub, I did a video that hit 1 million views. That's great. So because you're getting 1 million views, you have the right to just say whatever you want to say, whether it's correct or not. So once again, people think that because they have status, because they have followers, right, that the content doesn't matter anymore. As long as people watch, this is the whole Floyd Mayweather. Again, I'm going to bring Floyd Mayweather back into it. This is the whole Floyd Mayweather mentality, that it doesn't matter if I'm doing good or bad, if people love or hate me, as long as people give me attention, that's all that matters. So because this guy has such a great following, then people who don't have the following that he has, their opinions aren't valid anymore, basically. And again, this is just me paraphrasing everything. This is me putting it together, but seems as though this man has become he's become his own worst enemy, because I guess the fame and the fortune that have come along with this big following kind of went to his head. Now he thinks he can just say whatever he wants, and it doesn't matter at this point. I'm going to get the clicks, I'm going to get the views anyways, and anyone who doesn't have my status or stature, fuck them, right? So that's what it's all about. You don't have to be right anymore as long as you're getting the clicks. Mike Coppinger is another one. Just puts anything out there he wants, right? So this is what the boxing media has become. It's become all about clicks. Clarissa Shields is the only boxer that has the guts to step into MMA and fight under their rules. Heather Hardy, Holly Holm, Amanda Serrano, Ray Mercer, James Toney. There's 5 right there, and they've all done it. They've all done it before Clarissa Shields, which is a factual statement. But this man, because he gets millions and millions of views, right? Because he gets millions and millions, it's kind of bizarre. He only has 9,000 followers on Twitter, but obviously his YouTube channel is gigantic. And I actually, once again, I actually think that he does do good work with the interviews. I always thought that he was unbiased, but this is just basically a flagrant attempt to cape for Clarissa Shields. There's no other way you can look at it, right? There's no other way you can look at it. There's absolutely no other way you can look at it, because he refuses to correct the statement, to correct the incorrect statement that he made, and he continues to double down on it, right? So how can I actually respect this guy? This guy's got 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I can respect his work ethic. Yeah, he put in the work. He's earned that following, and I do like a lot of the work that he's done with his interviews. I'm not going to hate on the guy. Like, see, this is the new thing. Like, every time you criticize someone, you call someone out for saying something that's incorrect, when you want to fact check somebody, right? And then you provide evidence that they're wrong and that their comments are either incorrect or they're being hypocritical in the things they say, the immediate response is, oh, you're a hater. Oh, Beeb, you're just hating because this guy's got 1 million subscribers on YouTube and you're a little rinky-dink small channel. That's going to be the cop-out, right? And that's going to be his cop-out. He's obviously he's not going to respond to me, because, again, I'm not big enough for him to respond to. He's the mighty Marcos Villegas with 1 million subscribers. So he's so big and powerful here on YouTube, right? He's got actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he does have the biggest YouTube channel, the YouTube boxing channel here on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. I can double check that. But he does have the biggest boxing channel here on YouTube, right? So I'll give him, again, he gets all the props in the world for that. He gets all the props in the world for all the hard work he's done to grow his channel. Gets all the props in the world for a lot of the good interviews that he's done in the past. I used to think this guy was unbiased. I think that I used to think that this guy was a very reputable and respectable journalist. Not anymore. Not anymore. Major Cliche Rosie says, what did he say? He said, major props to Clarissa Shields, the only boxer with the guts to step into MMA and have an actual fight under their rules, which was false, because we still have women like Heather Hardy and Amanda Serrano who are current boxers, and they also fight MMA fights as well. So there's 2 active fighters that are doing both, and they've done it before Clarissa Shields. And then you have Holly Holm, who was another boxer who crossed over to MMA. Obviously, that everyone knows this. She actually won the UFC lightweight title, or not lightweight title. I think it was the bantamweight title, because she fought Ronda Rousey for the UFC bantamweight, women's bantamweight title, if I'm not mistaken. And it was a huge upset. Yes, Holly Holm was a boxer. That's correct. And she actually won the UFC title as well as multiple boxing titles. So she won the UFC women's bantamweight title, right? Bantamweight title, because 135, I believe, is bantamweight in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken, right? She was a box. That's correct, Lion. That's correct. She was a boxing champion and an MMA champion. So by him making that bias, ridiculous, incorrect statement on Twitter, and then everybody is out there correcting him, and then he's still trying to double down saying, well, I meant the only active fighter. Okay, then people continue to respond to him. Well, Amanda Serrano is active, right? Heather Hardy is active. What he really wanted to say was the only popular boxer in his opinion. Now, is Clarissa Shields more popular than Amanda Serrano and Heather Hardy? Probably. So just because she's more popular than the other two females doesn't mean you have the right to throw shade on what they have done and what they're currently doing. All right? So because this guy wants to cape for Clarissa Shields, as I said earlier in the video, he feels as though he can make incorrect statements and no one's going to fact check him. Beep, why do you care? Because this guy is supposed to be a respectable boxing journalist with over 1 million YouTube subscribers. And this was a guy who I had a lot of respect for. He was arguably, like, in my opinion, one of the best YouTube channels to do it. I actually thought, like, he did the most unbiased interviews and stuff like that. But now after seeing this, I've lost a lot of respect for him because he continues to double down on the comments, even though people were bringing up Holly Holm. That was the first thing that popped into people's minds, right? And then he said, well, I mean active. Again, I repeat, Serrano and Heather Hardy are active. I wonder what they're thinking right now reading this tweet, how they're feeling right now. I feel like quoting the retweet and adding them on it and asking them, what do they think about his comments? Because it's a slap in the face to everyone that did do both before Clarissa Shields and are currently doing both now. It's a slap in the face to them. And if he doesn't have the common decency to correct that statement and apologize for making that statement, because it's an insult to all the other fighters that have done it before Clarissa Shields. So if he's going to keep that tweet up, right? Even myself, I've made incorrect statements before. Eric and I have both made incorrect statements here on our show on the Ringside Reporter podcast every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We've both retracted statements, okay? But this guy doesn't have the common decency to correct those statements. So this is why the boxing media fucking sucks today. Not only do they put out false stories without verifying their sources, right? Not only do they do that, but now you have people who are supposed to be educated in the sport putting out factually incorrect statements, right? So this is what the boxing media has become. It's become a fountain. It's become a fountain of misinformation. That's what it's become. That's what it's become. I think that Fight Hype is the largest boxing YouTube channel out there right now. I could be mistaken. If anyone, again, if I'm wrong, I have no problem correcting myself. They have over 1 million subscribers. I don't know of any other boxing channel that has over 1 million subscribers, right? He has the biggest platform here on YouTube in regards to boxing channels. And again, I'm going to give him credit for the interviews. I actually think I think he actually scores fights very well too. A lot of times when he's scoring the fights for Fox on PBC, I think he does a great job. I think he does a great job. Let me look how many. Fight Hype is up there too. Shout out to Ben Thompson for the great work that he does. I don't want to disregard what he does. He's put in a lot of work over the years. Yeah, he has. Fight Hype does have 900,999 subscribers. So Ben Thompson and Fight Hype are up there too as well. They're right there with Fight Hub. Let's see what Fight Hub has. Fight Hub TV. He has 1.02 million subscribers. So he has slightly more than Fight Hype. So they're neck and neck right there. Him and Fight Hype. So yeah, shout out to both Fight Hype and shout out to Marcos Villegas for the hard work he's put in. We're not going to take the hard work away from the guy, but don't turn into a media whore. Don't turn into a tribalist, right? Don't subtract from others to add to someone else. All right? Don't play the fucking bias game here, okay? Don't play the bias game here. IFL TV is another big one. Let's take a look at how many subscribers they have. I'm just curious to see. Yeah, they have 675,000 subscribers. But again, that's a UK market. That's incredible, the amount of subscribers they have, because they're in a UK market, which is a much smaller market than the United States. So yeah, if you can give me the names of those Lion Killer, I'd like to see them, because I haven't seen them. But if you can find me the names, I'll definitely retract my statement. But yeah, I know Fight Hub and Fight Hype, to me right now, seem like the two largest YouTube boxing channels on there. But I don't know of any other ones, to be perfectly honest with you. So there. So Tone says, Beeb, do you think there's a possibility that he's paid in some ways to give Shields favorable coverage? I can't make those claims. All I know is it's a clear display of favoritism and bias towards Clarissa Shields to give her the credit that other other boxers should have received as well. ES News. Let's take a look at ES News. I don't think ES News is has more than. Let's take a look. Yeah, ES News has 618,000 subscribers. They don't have as many as Fight Hub and Fight Hype. So Fight Hub, to my knowledge, is the largest boxing YouTube channel out there, to my knowledge. So that's that. But yeah, it's definitely a clear bias towards Clarissa Shields, in my opinion. And it just was irritating that people were giving him examples of how he was wrong, and then he just kept trying to double down on it. Well, first he said, like I said, when Holly Holm was brought up, oh, I meant active. Then people brought up Amanda Serrano, and they brought up Heather Hardy, and then he just stopped responding. I told him, I said, just delete the tweet. You're wrong. Just delete the tweet. Just delete the tweet, because there are many others before Clarissa Shields. But that's that, man. I mean, it either comes down to one thing. He's just incompetent and he didn't do the homework, which I think he's smarter than that, or he's just trying to cape for Clarissa Shields. He's caping. He's caping for the Clarissa Shields right now. That's what I think. Gus says, Beeb, have you seen the vid of Holly Holm working with Shields for this fight? No, I did not. No, I did not. Centurion Son says, true, just retract the statement. Let me ask everybody in the chat, what would be the appropriate thing right now for Marcos Villegas to do? Should he continue to keep trying to talk his way out of the tweet and doubling down and trying to validate and justify the tweet, or should he just take the tweet down and say, hey, I misspoke? What would be the appropriate thing to do in your opinion? Let me know in the chat. I'm just curious. Does anyone think, or anyone watching this video on the archive, let me know if they think that Marcos Villegas should leave the tweet up there, even though it's 100% factually incorrect. Meta Truth says, admit you were wrong and retract. Okay, who else? Kid Stacy says, take down the tweet and rectify it. Okay. JC says, nah, retract. Like everyone thinks that he should just take it down, right? He doesn't have to listen to us, obviously. He can do what he wants. He's a grown man. But at some point, if he's going to keep putting Shikas says retract, everyone's saying retract. And it's not only the fact that he's caping for the Clarissa Shields, he's just disrespecting fighters like Amanda Serrano and Heather Hardy by disregarding that they've done it before Clarissa Shields. It's just a total disrespect. And you're shitting on Holly Holm too, who actually was a champion in boxing and a champion in MMA. I don't think Holly Holm gets the credit she deserves for accomplishing what she's accomplished. Right? Holly Holm also competed in kickboxing, right? She's the epitome of an all-around fighter in combat sports, right? She's done it all, almost, just about. And she's old now. She looks like she's still in her late 20s. She's like 35, 36 years old now. She's still fighting. She's lost a couple fights, but she still holds her own in there. She's no joke. I'm going to at some of these female fighters, these female boxers who have competed in both boxing and MMA, and I'm going to at them, and I'm going to use this retweet, and I'm going to ask them what they think of Marcos Villegas' comments, and if they're insulted or offended by the comments. I don't understand what you're saying. Don't care. He hype her up. I don't that care, Beeb. There don't care what he say. I can't understand what that means. If you can clean that up a little bit, I'd like to respond to it. I guess you're basically saying you don't care what he says. You have every right to not care what he says. I do care what he says because he's a large boxing platform. He's part of the media. I think he has a responsibility to report correct information. I think we all do. Whether we're big, whether we're small, whether we have a large following or a small following, I think it's our duty. Yeah, that made my head hurt too, trying to read that. No disrespect. It just made sense with the grammar, how it was written. But yeah, I disagree, and I'm not going to try and change your mind. If you don't care what he says, then that's your opinion. If you don't think that he has a right as a journalist to put out correct information, then that's your opinion. I'm not going to change it. Not here to try to tell you what you should believe or what you not believe. If it doesn't bother you that someone who has that platform, that has a lot of followers, that has a responsibility to report on the truth, and who's supposed to have some type of credibility, he's not Eddie Hearn. He was misinformed. I don't think he was misinformed. I think he just basically made an incorrect statement, and it was brought to his attention that the statement was incorrect, and he still continued. See, EJ, the problem is he continued to double down on it after people brought up examples to prove that his statement was wrong. So he wasn't man enough to just say he was wrong, right? And that's a problem. So he's putting his ego before credibility. And that's not what people who have the following that he has should be doing, right? That's wrong. He's always been objective, but lately you could see him capping for the PBC. Yeah, I mean, again, I think we all have our favorites. We're all biased to a degree. There's no question about it, but we have to try and display some degree of objectivity. We have to do it. We all have to do it. And I think if we're going to put ourselves in front of a camera or put our names on an article or on an interview that we conduct, I think we owe it to the public, the viewing public, to be as objective as we can, or at least make an effort to be objective. And I think we also owe it to the viewing public to put out correct factual information. Okay, we can't let our personal feelings skew reality and the facts. And one of the few last people that I had respect for. Marcos Villegas. I used to tell a lot of people, he like Marcos Villegas is cool, man. He does a good job. He's one of the few guys on YouTube, few guys in the boxing media that's unbiased. But not after this. Not after this. The fact that he had so many people replying to him, correcting his incorrect statements, and the fact that he would refuse to acknowledge that he was wrong here, that he refused to retract the statements, and to me, it's a total slight on fighters like Heather Hardy, on fighters like Amanda Serrano, and especially on Holly Holm, right? It's a slight, it's an insult. And for him to not realize that, he's either ignorant or he just doesn't care, or he's an asshole. One of the three things. So I guess what EJ Boxing is saying is it doesn't really matter to him what Marcos Villegas says, because to him, he's not really a reputable source anyway. So in other words, you never held him in high regard anyways. Well, I can respect that. I can respect that, but I'll be honest with you. I actually did hold the guy in high regard. I thought he was one of the few good ones left, but now he just exposed himself with that one tweet, just destroyed his credibility with me, and I think a lot of people. That's the thing. That's the thing. Oh, okay. Shout out to Lion Killer. The World of Boxing has 2.73 million subscribers. Okay, so I guess there are other channels out there that are bigger than Marcos Villegas' Fight Hype channel. Wow. I got you. See, now I was wrong. I made an incorrect statement, right? What did I do? I corrected myself. Was that hard to do? World of Boxing. It's called The World of Boxing with an exclamation point. 2.73 million subscribers. I think what they do is they show fight footage and stuff. I'm not sure if they do interviews. I'm gonna go check this channel out later. I'm just curious to see this channel. Maybe I may not even be subscribed to it. I'll probably go and subscribe to it because I subscribe to all the boxing channels. Just about. Okay, so there is a bigger channel out there, and Lion Killer says there are more out there. Okay. See, now when you're wrong, okay, here's the channel. World of Boxing, 2.73 million subscribers. Shout out to Lion Killer. He did the research. He showed me that my statement was incorrect, right? Now, am I going to hold on to my statement and double down on it and say, oh, well, no one watches that channel. Oh, well, they don't really do boxing interviews. No, because the statement was the biggest boxing channel. That's the statement I made, right? That's a boxing channel, right? It says boxing in the title of that channel. So I was wrong in my statement and I retracted it. Why can't he do that? Thank you, Lion Killer. And Lion Killer also says there are more. He says MMA channels are way bigger than boxing channels. I can believe that. Sure. Team Batman Boxing says Boxing Legends TV has 1 point. Okay. All right. So he's not the biggest channel. All right. But he does have 1 million subscribers on YouTube, which I think is a very, very big following. And I think he owes it to those subscribers and his followers to put out accurate information. And when he finds out that his information is not accurate, just like I retracted my statement, okay, he needs to retract his. He needs to correct himself. JC said, I've never heard of, but again, doesn't matter if you've heard of them or I heard of them. They're still bigger. See, we're not going to be like, no disrespect to you, JC. I'm not taking shots at you, but we're not going to stoop down to Marcos Villegas level and just try to diminish those channels because we were wrong. So then he's trying to double down and backtrack. Well, I meant active fighters, right? And then they showed active fighters. So his next statement is probably going to be, oh, I mean active fighters that have a big following, right? That's what he's going to say. That's my opinion. So there are bigger channels out there than him. So we correct them. We correct ourselves when we make incorrect statements. And I asked for help. I said, I think he's the biggest. If there are bigger ones out there, please can someone let me know? Lion Killer provided me the correct information, and I accept his information. He provided me the source. I accept his source because I don't have cognitive dissonance. There's a lot of people out there that when you show them facts and you show them empirical data and evidence, then that's they still don't want to acknowledge it. Lion Killer says the footage channels for boxing are bigger and consistently have more views. Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you. That's what we do here. That's what we do here. It's not about me being right. It's about me putting out the right information. I take myself out of the equation. Do I get emotional sometimes? 100%. Do I get upset sometimes? 100%. Do I inject my opinion a lot in some of the statements I make? Of course I do. But I will never, ever, ever put my opinion or my personal feelings over facts. You'll never see me do that on here, guys. You'll never see me do that on here. Brandon White's giving a shout out to Lion Killer. Shout out to Lion Killer, man. He puts in the work too, guys. Make sure you subscribe to Lion Killer Podcast, his channel over there. Him and Nate do phenomenal work. What's up, H Money? H Money is another one of my favorite channels here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to H Money Boxing. Shout out to H Money Boxing. EJ Boxing Live, shout out to him. I love EJ Boxing. Make sure you subscribe to EJ Boxing Live, everybody. There's a lot of good guys on here. Team Batman Boxing, shout out to him. I think I'm not 100% sure. I see you put polls out and stuff. I don't know if you actually do videos, but subscribe to him and see what type of content he has out there. I'm not sure exactly if you do breakdown videos or whatever, but yeah. I mean, I try to subscribe to everybody. Certain channels that have become too crazy for me, I'm still subscribed to them, but I have a hard time watching them. I have a hard time watching all of them. You know what I mean? Because some of the crazy stuff that they put out there, but I'm still sub to them. I still sub to them. I'll try to watch their videos, but then sometimes they go too far off the deep end. They go too far down a rabbit hole, and I can't sit and watch the whole thing. But that's me. I can't tell you guys what to watch, what to believe, what you should like. You have every right to like what you like. But I also have every right to like what I like. And if I'm giving my opinion on something, I get tired of hearing that I'm hating. Because that's what's going to be said right now in this video. Everyone's going to tell me I'm hating on Marcos Villegas. No, I'm not hating on. He made a 100% incorrect, factually wrong statement. He needs to address it. And if he doesn't address it and leaves that tweet up there and people continue to respond to it, people continue to give him examples of why he's wrong, and he continues to not want to acknowledge that, then he's going to lose credibility. And he's going to get eviscerated on Twitter and continue to get eviscerated on Twitter until he takes that tweet down. Till he takes that tweet down. And if he doesn't take that tweet down, then it's open season on him. That's it. And this isn't a personal attack on him. It's just a personal attack. Or I shouldn't say it's a personal attack on anyone. This is just a shot at boxing media to get your fucking shit together, to get your shit straight. So it's not a personal attack on anyone. It's just a shot over the bow to let boxing media know that we're watching and we're holding you accountable. We're looking at all the clickbait stories you put out, Mike Coppinger, and we're recording all the times you've been wrong, all the times that people have come out and in the boxing world and have called you out for being wrong, right? Am I a reporter? No, I'm an analyst. I'm not a reporter. I'm an analyst. I do report news, but I don't break news. I just have an opinion on the news that's put in front of me. Sometimes I break news. Very rarely do I ever break news. So would I consider myself a reporter? No. No, I do not. No, I do not. So I'm just a guy who has an opinion that has been following the sport since I was 10, 11 years old. I'm now 52 years old. So you do the math. You do the math. I've interviewed many fighters, interviewed managers, promoters. Am I as big as Marcos Villegas? No. Do I travel to all the fights like Marcos Villegas? Do I put as much work into the boxing media work that he's done? No, I do not. I'm not going to claim that I do. I'm not going to take anything away from his work ethic, the time he's put in the sport, or how big he's created his channel. I'm going to give him full credit for everything he's accomplished. But again, he owes it to us and everybody that watches his videos and follows him on Twitter. He owes it to all of us to report accurate information. Okay? Thank you, JC. Appreciate the comments. I think what would hurt me in the business is because I'm so objective that I could picture myself asking the wrong question and then getting blackballed. And that's why I think I would have a hard time doing this full time, to be perfectly honest with you. All right, guys, that's all I got for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Always appreciate the support and the comments in the chat. I always appreciate the super chats and everything you guys do for the channel. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share the video. And if you like what I'm doing, give me the thumbs up and tweet me and share me, and hopefully I can continue to grow. Make sure you check us out every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Ringside Reporter Podcast. This week we're going to be doing the show on Monday. We're not going to be available to do the show on Sunday, so this week's show will be on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you check us out Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If the time does change, if we decide to do it a little bit early Monday, we'll let you know. Make sure you follow us on Twitter to get the latest updates on what we're doing here on the Ringside Reporter Live channel. But until next time, Beeb is out. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a great day and stay safe. Peace out, everybody.